say you are live.
You are live.
with response to his comments about what would work and not work there. The site has been looked at by GFL, our hauler, by the Buntings, by Bill Bailey, who's the manager of the store there. And then the drawings were sent to the road commission and also to the fire chief. That's part of the temporary land use permit process. The road commission contacted me by phone. We went through questions and comments, and they sent a new drawing over of moving the bins and providing alley access and so forth. There's an actual alley that comes through there. It's not just a parking lot. As you go around the back of the store, there's an alley there. So when all that was done, Ray took that, and he has a gentleman who has graciously been doing these drawings for us, redid the drawings, and those are now back in the hands of the zoning administrator. As of late last night, I think it was, or early this morning, the zoning administrator replied and said he's waiting for your action on this agreement. So he's got input from the road commission. The fire chief, I don't believe, had any comments. Is that correct, Ray?
Yeah, he was good with it.
Okay.
I spoke with him yesterday afternoon.
Great. So there is an area on the drawing here, and if you want to see it, I'll pass it around. We just have the one copy, but it shows the building. It shows what they have there in the back. It shows the alley where these bins are going to be located. And then the area all to the south has been left alone for additional parking and also for snow plowing and snow piles. That was something that the Buntings had brought up as well. So what you have in front of you today is the recycling agreement, a 5-year recycling agreement, and I have originals here. It has been signed by Bill Bailey, the manager at the store already. And if you are in agreement with it, we're asking for you to approve a 5-year agreement today with Bunting Cedar Market. They would get the same lease payment as all the other sites do, which is $3,600 a year.
Here's more copies.
Before we take a motion, Mr. Bubba, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I got all good news. So that's a good way to start the morning off. You know, with starting back almost a year ago, when the township was not going to continue on the recycling, I just took it upon myself to try to find a new site, and we worked with Ron and Lori Novak just west of the post office. And then just recently I was working with Corey Flaska on the other side, but both sites were wetlands. And we were looking at buying, the county, 1 acre, but we'd have to fill a ½ acre of wetland. And I also spoke with Robin Schmidt from Eagle, and she said, you have to look at every spot in the township where there is a dry piece of property big enough to do all this. And so Trudy and I, we went up, we're going up the road, every direction, trying to figure out where there'd be another spot. And then Bunnings called and said, we might have an opportunity for a recycling site here on our back lot. And so Bill, the manager, and I, we measured out one. We had one sketch, but that was on the wrong part of the parking area. And where we have it right now is what Bunnings and the owner, Greg Bunning, all have agreed with. And the recycling company, GFL, has been there and looked at it. I talked with Steve, the driver who empties these tanks, and by putting the way we have them just too deep, they'll be able to empty this recycling site twice as fast as the one down by the Cedar River. And it's going to be a lot easier. That whole area that the tanks sit on is asphalt, so that makes it easier to keep up and nice and clean. And there's a spot on the back of the store that if a camera is needed, it can be mounted there. The lot is lit up. The snow plowing is not an issue. the Bunnies already looked at that and where the snow would be pushed and everything else. That is taken care of, and by putting them too deep, and we can put in 10 bends, and then the smaller bend, which is lower, and I never knew what that bend was for. And it's for the short people or the people that are disabled. I didn't know that, but it's the same material that goes in there for recycling, so anybody that's short can recycle. And Trudy says we gotta have it because there's a lady that already called and demanded that bend, so we have it on our sketch. Just in case you get a call from somebody that's has that issue. And the county request was that the bends be set back so that when you came in the alley, that you'd be able to pull off the alley and have space between the alley and the bends. So we did that because we had the room. And then they mentioned about striping, and that would be done in the spring of the year when that's available. And so we took care of the county needs. I talked to the fire chief. He's 100% safe, fair, all in favor of it. And been working with Tim Cipher for weeks, and he's been really, really helpful. And but Mark Palenko, who is a graphic designer, he's also on my Cedar River Waterway Committee. And I don't know how many different sketches we had to adjust and make and improve on, but he's been really helpful. And he must have did 20 different sketches, designs for me. And Trudy does not get charged a dime for it. So that's pretty damn good. And so, because Trudy said, Ray, we got to find a recycling place, but we can't spend any money doing it. So up till today, we haven't spent a dime, right?
That's right.
So that's some more good news. So the site has been approved by the store manager and Greg Bunning at Bunning's Market for a 5-year contract. The recycling people have looked at it and they like the way it's laid out and where it is. And, you know, it's like if the truck is unloading the dumpsters by the river and somebody pulls in, well, you gotta leave room for that truck to empty the bins. And so that's the same, any recycling place that we have in the county. And the other nice thing is that's a county alley that comes in from the north by the post office side. And Bunnings has 2 other exits. So there's 3 exits going out of the parking. And that half of the parking area, it only has 4 or 5 cars for employees. The customers, they have plenty of parking up on top. And so right now it looks like it's going to be a win-win for everybody.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Lautner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move that Leelanau County Board of Commissioners accept the agreement between Leelanau County and Bunting Cedar Market, Cedar, Michigan, for a county recycling program site as presented.
Support. Any discussion?
I have a question. This agreement that was handed out, is this the entire agreement absent the signature page?
That's the copy. I have the originals here. So it's two-page document.
Is the term mentioned there somewhere, or am I missing?
Yeah, number 5.
Okay, there it is. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Yes.
So if at any time, if we're probably still gonna have our feelers out for another possible site, I mean, that never ends, right? I mean, So this agreement allows us to make a decision to terminate this site if a better site would come forward, correct?
Yes, there's a 90-day out clause for either party, and that's the same in all of our agreements.
Okay. So we're gonna kind of wait and see, obviously, test out this site, get it all in place and.
This is a 5-year agreement, so we're ready to go for a 5-year time period. The only other thing that we would need to do, we're looking for the temporary land use permit now, but then we most likely have to go through the special use permit process with the township, which will be a little more detail of design and whatever else that they require under their zoning ordinance.
I would just like to also say that I'm one of the ambassadors at the Cedar site. And I am very proud of the fact that the site, yes, there are occasions, but very little, I would say, contamination with other materials since the ambassadors have been there and the cameras have been posted. So I'm there and I'm one of the people that care. So I applaud you for your efforts. Right?
One last comment. What's nice is the recycling moves from the river to Bunnings and there's no disruption. So if somebody came into town, they would be able to still dump one or the other. And it ain't like, hey, we gotta wait 6 months and now there's none. We got it worked out that it's. And one other comment, we are gonna have a ribbon cutting ceremony after we get it set up, because we're damn proud of what we did.
Thank you, Commissioner Lutton.
Thank you, Ray, for mentioning that there was no disruption because the township board, Solon Township Board was very helpful in allowing those bins to stay on that site until this morning. Otherwise, they would have had to have been per contract removed, taken into Traverse City and brought back out, which is an absolute waste of all kinds of resources. So thank you to the township board for allowing him to stay there this long.
Thank you for mentioning that. I was going to do that when Mr. Pleva called me on New Year's Day. And he was in a kind of a panic and he reached out to the township and they were gracious to say, well, we can keep those bins there for a week. So thank you. Yes.
Will there be a sign at the old site telling people?
Yes, we'll make signs in our office. We have large sandwich boards we can use and laminating machines, so we'll get something posted.
Great.
Jamie, and then Melinda, and then Cameron.
I just wanted to say thank you both for really stepping up and doing your due diligence and beyond. It sounds like with this site, we all thank you because this is really important to a lot of citizens. So thanks again.
You're welcome.
Myself? Yes, thank you. I had one more point. As far as sites go, someone asked about looking for new sites. I would say truly and ongoing. We continue to look for a site in Leland. We don't have any site up on that whole quadrant of the county. So it'd be great to have a site up in Leland. We've been years trying to get a site there and can't cite one. Pop Road came up again. We continue to occasionally, Centerville Township may be a great another future site. We've got the intersection there where Sugarfoots is. It's all paved, it's all open, easy for trucks. That may be a great potential site up there if Cleveland or Centerville
Yes.
chooses to decide to host the site. So any township is welcome to host a site. Contact Trudy and she'll be more than happy to get that set up.
I contacted each supervisor in
I know.
Centerville, Cleveland, Casson, and they said all roads in that part of the county lead to Cedar. And
He recognizes it.
because they like, then they can go to the post office, they can go to Bunnings, the hardware store, or on the way to Traverse, and it just works out really well. But if somebody wants to put one up, God bless them.
Yep.
Are we ready to vote?
I just have one other question.
Commissioner Rush.
Thank you. A fence, did we decide on the possibility or?
We're checking on that.
Okay.
It's definitely a possibility.
I will be bringing that up to the township at their next board meeting, that we'd be willing to, not at their expense, but to remove it and move it over to Bunnings.
Commissioner Rush.
I would sure like to see some cameras in place. I know at Elmwood we've had focus amongst problems, people dropping off pianos and tires and things. Also, all these containers, they drain into the Cedar wetlands, right? Every one of them, that's where, just be careful with that. That's why we need it monitored. If you throw something in those dumpsters, and we've seen a lot of hazardous stuff. You know, we have 2 trout streams up the way towards Maple City. And we had such a problem in Elmwood. I don't know, is there a certain time that the truck is gonna come in and empty those, Trudy, or can you work with that?
We will work that out with them, just like we did where at the current site.
Actually, put some plastic chain to keep the people.
Right.
Because he would be backing up the truck and they'd pull in behind him and stuff, and it's, you know, to get him in there and let him do his job and get out of there.
Yeah, we will work with GFL on all of those.
Thank you.
Judy, do you want to respond to Jim's question about the cameras?
Bunting's has cameras right now, is that correct, Ray? I
No,
believe.
they would allow us to put one up on the back of
Okay.
the store. They have Wi-Fi. And so it'd be real, real easy to set that up.
It has been extremely helpful in all with our cameras, extremely helpful.
Okay, we're ready to vote? All those in support of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you. I will leave the originals for signature, and if I can grab them later.
We're going to take a short break before the next meeting, but before we do that, we have another public comment period. If anybody wishes to make public comment. Any commissioner comment?
Thank you, then.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Very much.
Thank you, Ray.
Motion to adjourn for 5 minutes.
So moved.
Thank you.